Welcome to humanity. This is our one.
Whatever it takes, we got to say whatever it takes is what it took.
This is Brock Lesnar, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Yo, hi, this is Sugar Ray Leonard, and you listen to Fight Net Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to listen to Fight Net Radio.
Lee Harvey Oswald, what's your name? How am I supposed to know you?
This is Frank Shamrock. You're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Hi, this is Nia, the Knockout St. John. You're listening to Fight Net Radio, and there's no way I would ever touch Lee.
This is Chuck Jackson.
I am Stephen Bonner, and you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Dan Henderson, you're listening to Fight Net Radio.
Everybody, welcome to Fight Net Radio, where Lee's burning every bridge there is out there. All right.
Hi, this is Manny Pacquiao. I'll fight anybody on FightNetRadio.com.
Hey, I'm the king of the world! Hold it, you're not that crazy. I'm a bad man! I took up the world!
Hi everybody, welcome to Fight Net Radio. Lee Honick, Andrew Labouche. Here comes the boom once again. Format of the show, if you are unfamiliar, brand new to it. Andrew is a writer. You've read him. You've seen him. He's appeared on many places on the internet, both clothing optional and with words. My name is Lee Honish. Here's how it works. Andrew, the writer, gives me a list of stories to talk about. My job is to say something stupid and controversial and or clever and or funny. Oftentimes I miss, but I can say this if you're a new listener. Statistically speaking, I will say something funny probably once during the show. If I'm on a roll, you get a good 45 minutes to an hour where I've got something to say about every fight. Again, if you're brand new to the show, go sign up. iTunes. Make sure to get the right one. There are two versions out there. They're both the same show, but we moved over platform. So what I would tell you to do if you're brand new, iHeartRadio or iTunes, or go check us out on Facebook. And there's always links to the most current shows. Or visit our production studios, perfectbluestudios.com. Commercials done, out of the way. Sign up. I'm not even asking you to rate us like some pandering dog like the rest of the podcast. I'd even hire people to go and put comments just so I could be a number one podcast, because that's how they rate it. They rate it on comments, if you can believe that shit. But I'm not doing any of that. I don't care about iTunes rankings. I care about the 50 of you listening to the show right now, and you had a huge boxing weekend. Let's start off on Friday night. Andrew was in charge of watching Sergio the Latin Snake Mora fight for the second time against somebody who I didn't know, in a fight I didn't really care about the first time. So Andrew, tell me more about the Jacobs brutalization of Mora. The WBA regular middleweight world champion David the Miracle Man Jacobs successfully defended his title on Friday night with a 7th round TKO over Sergio the Latin Snake Mora in Reading, Pennsylvania. Widely considered a top threat to the unified. Do they really think that Jacobs is in line to get a piece of Triple G, and we'll get to Triple G momentarily? Sergio Mora's on a 5 straight losing streak or something? I mean, like, he's dropping fights left and right. I mean, I'm amazed that he's only lost 4 fights, but I think it's hilarious that he's still around.
I mean, Lee, seriously, the only win I think I ever seen Mora have is the Vernon Forrest victory years ago. I mean, Vernon has been gone for over at least 5 years now. And Mora hasn't had a good showing at all. And really the only reason why he got this rematch was because in the first fight he dropped Jacobs in the first round. Could have been a flash knockdown. You know, Mora doesn't have a lot of power behind him. But that's why Al Heyman gave him this rematch. It was a competitive 2 rounds. One guy Mora injured his ankle, couldn't continue. So they waited a year and brought it back. The fight ended exactly how most experts thought the first fight would have ended if the ankle injury never would have happened. And that's Daniel Jacobs by knockout victory. Mora looked old. He looked out of it. I don't, you know, he didn't seem like he was there to win last night. You know, he's like 36 years of age. Like we just stated, he hasn't had a big win here in the ring for quite some time. I just think he was way in over his head. He always has been, but now because of age, Lee, it's really taken a toll on his skill level, and Daniel Jacobs was way too much. And Daniel Jacobs, it was funny. He was a little controversial this week leading up to the fight. He came out and said that he was disappointed in the African Americans not backing him. He was on an interview with Boxing Scene, and he went on to say how, you know, he was a good guy. He didn't want to act like a fool. He didn't want to be on TMZ for all the wrong reasons to try to sell a ticket, but that he was frustrated that the fans weren't backing him. And while a little bit of that's true, you know, I've talked about that a lot on this show, how it does seem that the African Americans that do act in a certain way don't get as much shine, or they're not as big as a fan draw as the ones that act obnoxious and are always on, like Jacob says, TMZ for the wrong reasons. So, but what Jacobs needs to understand is he fought Sergio Mora for the second time. He was dropped by Sergio Mora in the first fight, and he was knocked out clean by a man named Dimitri Pirog that he never rematched. Pirog then suffered a big injury and could never, just stepped away from the ring, hasn't fought in since. So Daniel Jacobs never even got to I guess, make up the loss, the big knockout. So there's a lot of question marks over Daniel Jacobs. I don't know if he can put it all on the fact that it's because he's a well-spoken African-American that he's not selling tickets. And not saying that the other guys aren't. Look, this is what Jacobs was saying. Not, you know, don't take this from my words. Even though I agree with a lot of what he said, just he's not the right guy to really say it because he's had a lot of hiccups in his career. I mean, the fact that he battled cancer and he had to step away for that for a little while was a hiccup in his career. Yes, it's a good story, but people, you know, a lot of people don't buy tickets because of good stories. They buy tickets because you're a good fighter. So I think he just needs to come back, get a few more wins, definitely tell El Heyman to pick up the opposition. You know, the Sergio Moras of the world, those need to stop. If you're trying to convince the fans that you're the next big thing for the American fighters in the middleweight division, you can't be fighting Sergio Mora twice. So definitely needs to talk to his manager about stepping up the opposition. And then when he does, he needs to show up. He needs to fight. He needs to perform. And we haven't seen him perform to the level of Terrence Crawford or Andre Ward, guys that they had named in the interview. So you can't demand their type of fan base if you're not performing like them as of right now.
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't want to say anything crappy, but does he get that he works for the PBC? Like, does he get that he's a PBC fighter at all?
Yeah, yes, Lee. They talked about Deontay Wilder not having a problem selling tickets. I don't know how much of that is true. But you know, there are some fighters in the PBC that do good, at least at the box office. And what Jacobs was saying is when he fought Peter Cullen in Brooklyn, they didn't even sell out the arena. And that was
right. Because he's nobody. Like, I don't want to break it to fighters. You're a nobody. So you don't want to. So he doesn't want to be what I'd call a black exploitation, be it outspoken like Broner, who they've basically stuck in a hole to keep him from doing anything stupid, or being impressive and fighting people, stepping up to big matches, because the PBC's never going to put him in a position to fight anyone spectacular. Like he's just not.
He's out of the loop right now. If you look at the middleweight division, yes, Daniel Jacobs, it doesn't seem like he's in the circle at all with the other fighters.
Because that's ultimately
what the PBC
format. You either do some sort of exploitation. Generally, the reason I say it's black is because it's somebody who is African American and does something outrageous, and then they pump it up and send it out into the press as hard as they can previous to the fight. Or you are somebody like Robert Guerrero, where you've got just enough of a name, and Jacobs doesn't have that same level of notoriety.
Yeah, no.
And you stick him in against somebody who's either bigger or better to sell tickets. That's the PBC formula for selling a fight.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And also, I think the PBC has been relying a lot on the money that they had up front. I mean, Al Heyman, he really doesn't have to worry about selling the ticket at the live gate, which, you know, you would say that's stupid. They're always worrying about their money, and that's true to a certain degree. But when you have, I believe, upwards of $800-900 million to spend, come on, isn't, you know what I mean, Lee? Like, you're not really worried about if the tickets are selling. You're not putting too much money into the promotions because the 900 million is already in the bank. You just have to find a way to get it out of the investors' hands. And Al Heyman's done, as of this far, he's done a great job of getting that money out of their hands without giving them really a return. You know, I still haven't seen any ratings on the Robert Guerrero fight that happened a few weeks ago. We know the Spence fight did 6 million. That's a great number. I'm very happy for Spence, but we don't know what the fights for PBC has done in the last two telecasts. So, and another thing, Lee, this whole thing about, you know, I'm a good guy, so I should make this type of money. That really is coming off of the Floyd Mayweather era, and that's why this our sport is in the place it's at right now in the American circuit, at least right now in the UK. I don't know if anyone realized last night, but they put in 100,000. I know we're going to talk about that later, Lee. I'm just bringing up a point real fast here. They put 100,000 people in an arena to watch two men fight. That the UK is clearly taking over the boxing world right now as far as the best fighters, the amount of champions, quality champions they have right now. They're coming over the pond and beating our guys all the time. See, it used to be the American circuit was the best. We had the Mexicans, we had the Americans, we had the Puerto Ricans, and then the best of every other place coming to Las Vegas to try to make it in a career. The UK used to stay away. Yeah, they sent over.
You know what? I'd argue this point and say that Europe is just as competitive.
Oh, they are now. Like, no, I'm telling you.
I mean, not well, and you got to differentiate, right? Like, there's England boxing, like in and around England, the UK, Glasgow, Scotland, that kind of thing. But there's also like heavy European, like the K1, like the Klitschko K what is it, K2 or K3 or whatever they are. The Klitschkos dominate Germany and Russia,
and that was just the beginning. The Klitschkos were just the beginning of the takeover.
I think the Klitschkos made Europe, and I think that. And for those of you, here's a good opportunity to insert a commercial. Hey, follow me on Twitter at Lee Honish, LeeHonish on Twitter. I follow a lot of English boxing sites and European boxing sites on Twitter. It's huge. Like, they kick out more news than, and I follow everybody. I follow Boxing News. I follow Steve. I follow, you know, all the big writers.
They are fighting the best. The best are fighting the best over there.
Andrew, did you know that Dan Rayfield is so fat that he has 2 Twitter accounts? That's a good joke. Come on, that's a good joke.
What are you doing to me, Lee? Are you serious right now? Oh my gosh. Yes,
that's a good one.
You're insane.
That one's out there for just our friend Bill Trio. Visit poundforpoundboxing.com. Read some of Andrew's stories.
The best fight the best over there. Over here, they're not doing it no more. These guys are more scared of losing their undefeated records or losing a fight rather than putting on a classic fight and getting people actually behind you because of what you do in the ring. And that is strictly coming from the Floyd Mayweather era. Mayweather did a great job of holding on to that 0, giving us the fights we didn't want to see. We pumped them up like they were some big fight. And now everybody wants to go down this path. And I'm sorry, we're putting in what it was at the Gonzalez fight last night. Gonzalez and Cuadras was like 6,000 people. 6,000 people.
No, just under 7,000.
Two undefeated champions, Lee, both from good fan bases too. The Nicaraguans, they showed up last night. Gonzalez had a very strong fan base in there. 6,000 though? Are you serious? Pound for pound,